Why I chose Islam is why I chose to share Islam with the world. The reason I do da'wah is the exact same reason that I chose to become a Muslim in 1998, because I found in it the answers to questions I had been searching for my entire life. And not only did I find the answers, I found proof of the answers. This is the thing that has always been missing from my journey. For any of you, those of you who saw my story about how the Bible led me to Islam, when I left Christianity, it was because of the fragility of the proofs that were put forward. You know, it was because of the fragility of the proofs of the Bible and the fragility of the proofs of you know, the Holy Spirit and all of these things that caused me to leave Christianity. And my one condition going forward, when I started to look into Judaism, when I started to look into Hinduism, when I started to look into Buddhism and all of the other isms and religions out there, was I wanted proof. I remember my grandfather telling me growing up that the truth always comes with proof. And that was my litmus test going forward. When I studied Judaism, Hindu, I wanted proof. I don't want this, you just tell me something that makes me feel good, because that's what I spent the majority of my life being told in church. I wanted proof, tangible evidence, because if what you say you believe is from the creator of the heavens and earth, untampered with, unadulterated, all of those things, then there will be tangible proof of it. There has to be, because the world is tangible proof of the existence of a creator, right? The universe is tangible proof. There are so many things around us. And even the Quran tells us to look inside of our own soul or our own bodies. I mean, just look at us. We are living proof of the existence of a design and a creator. So if he has a way of life for mankind, that way of life for mankind must have some proof behind it. And it must be proof that is equivalent with the creator who sent it. That means that proof would be perfect, because the nature of the creator is that he is perfect, right? So if God is perfect, if the creator is perfect, his religion would be perfect. The proofs that came with it would be perfect. Everything about it would just fall right into place. And I could not find that in the other religions, because they're man-made. They're man-made. And the evidence of that is the proofs, the documents, the writings, the books, all have mistakes. They all have discrepancies. They all have contradictions. Why? Because the nature of man is that just like if God created something, it would be perfect. When man tries to create something, it carries with it the imperfection. When I was able to go to the masjid for the first time in 1998, and the Imam gave a very beautiful khutbah, it touched me, mashallah. But when I went to him after the salah and asked him, because he started telling me about Islam. You know how our da'wah goes. You know, Islam is built on 5 pillars and six beliefs. And I said, look, I just want to know, do you have some proof? You know, like where is the proof that your religion is what you say it is? And he smiled. He's like, you know, he said, I got you. So he went and pulled a book off the shelf and he handed it to me. And my first proof handed to me about the deen of al-Islam was the Quran. He said, this is it. This is our proof. And then he started to tell me about the Quran. You know, that it was revealed to the Prophet. I said, look, no. I've already had people try to pre-sale me. You know, he's trying to load me up to go read this Quran with a certain frame of mind. I said, no, don't do that. Let me read this book. If it is what you say it is, it'll prove itself. This was the amount of certainty that I had, that if God had a religion, it would be clear, crystal, for someone who was searching. So I took the Quran home, and that was on a Friday evening, and I started reading it. And I remember reading Surah Al-Fatiha. All praise belongs to Allah, who is the Lord of all the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, the master of the day of judgment. You alone do we worship, and you alone do we seek our assistance. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those who have earned your favor, not the path of those who have earned your anger, nor of those who have gone astray. As soon as I read that, Jesus' prayer that he taught his disciples in the Bible came to mind. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. There was such glaring similar. And then I turned over to Surah Al-Baqarah, and the first verse had no meaning to me whatsoever. ALM. The second verse is the reason I decided to look into Islam. It's the reason I decided to keep reading the Quran. It could very well be the reason I'm a Muslim today. It's Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 2. This is the book. Subhanallah. If you understood how deep just that phrase alone, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ, this is the book. And it's in such a powerful prose that Allah Jalla wa Ala is telling mankind. There is no hesitation in this statement. This is the book. In it is no doubt, no crookedness, no strangeness. It's clear. And it will guide whomsoever fears the one who created them. And it will guide whomsoever has fear or has taqwa or has consciousness of their God. To me, initially that challenge made me angry, because I did not want to believe that Muslims could have any, even though this Imam gave a khutbah that day that was so beautiful about the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it touched me. There was no way I wanted to admit that Muslims, whom I used to believe as a Christian, would be the Dajjal. I believe that the Mahdi that we wait on now was going to be the Dajjal. You know, and that Muslims are going to be the army of Ad-Dajjal. That's what I believed about you guys. That's what I heard, and that's what it sounded good and clicked together, and there we go. That's the Antichrist. I did not want to believe that there's no way. I've been looking all over for God, and I'm going to find him with the Muslims. You know, like this, I have to figure out a way to disprove this book. But this book, Allah Jalla wa Ala, in his wisdom, made sure that verse would be the first thing you read after Fatiha. This is the book. There is no ghaib in it. There's no doubt in it. There's no crookedness. There's no errors. There's no contradiction. There's nothing. And it will guide whomsoever has fear of me. So I started to read Surah Al-Baqarah with the intention that I'm going to find that thing that can tell me that Islam is wrong, that this book is not what it says it is. And so I keep reading in Baqarah, and I come across another challenge, that if you have any doubt about this book, bring something like it and call anyone you wish to help you. And when you fail, and you will fail, if and when you fail, you're going to fail trying to replicate this book, then fear the fire whose fuel is men and stones. And then I find another challenge. Had this been from any other than God, you would find in it contradictions. So very early on, the Quran is challenging me intellectually to discredit it. No other religious book on the face of the planet Earth has this challenge.